I'm Meli Maribote. On Instagram, I'm known as Nomadic 3000. I'm a hybrid and wellness and performance coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, hybrid athlete, then wellness and performance around the Johannesburg area.
Have you been doing specifically marathons?
So, this is my second block
Okay.
in terms of training. Then, I've done a lot of halves before.
Okay.
Like, you grow up from doing 5 to doing 8, 10, 10, 12. Then you meet a solid pack that really trains for a distance like Comrades, distance like 2 Oceans. Then I found myself getting ready to train for my first one. Then it happens that we didn't run the first one. So this is my second block.
Oh, second block for Cape Town specifically.
Yeah, Cape Town Marathon.
Okay, and a block is typically like a year, or
A block is 16 if you build in base, then 12 if you already have good base, then 8 if you really elite.
So 8 weeks.
8 weeks.
Oh, okay.
But I did 16.
Okay.
Yeah, I did 16.
Okay.
And 15 for the second block.
Okay, so typically 4 months out, 16 years.
Yeah, it's 4 months of training.
Okay, and then why Cape Town?
I think Cape Town is one of those destinations where when you think of Africa, South Africa specifically, you just think of Cape Town because of how the demographics and how the setup is that side. And also having to stay there for quite some time as a student, like I felt like I didn't have enough time to explore the city.
Okay.
In terms of the footprint, right? Because you just focus on being a student. The most thing that occupies your time is your studies more than anything else. And then how it came across is that I didn't get the entry at first, right? The entries were already closed and I kept on training. Then my coach, Emo, and the crew, the Flying Donuts, they kept emphasizing that don't worry, we'll find you an entry, don't worry, we'll find you an entry. And on my birthday, that was my gift from my coach.
Shout out to the coach, you know.
Coach Gibbs got the input, descended to the crew, then coach was like, we buying an entry for me. Then,
Okay.
yeah, I nearly cried. That's why it's so sentimental to do Cape Town. And since also we went there, we couldn't run it, then having to have injuries leading up, then having to recover, then you go in a slump because you expected to run a race that got cancelled the morning of the race. Didn't even see the starting line, so it felt like the mission was not done.
Oh, so that was last
Yeah,
year.
it was last year.
Okay.
So we had to get a little bit of payback.
Yeah, he. So how was your training for this one, and how was it different from last
The
year?
previous block.
Yes.
Yo, I don't want to lie. Like your first block, especially like because it's different for other people, is that I already have a decent amount of base, but I didn't have decent amount of volume.
Okay.
Right. So I could keep up, but I could not keep up and sustain that pace or towards a specific distance. Right. So having to train for my first block, I felt like it broke me at certain stages. But I think as an athlete, you kind of need such moments to really be able to grow as an athlete and to be challenged and to push your limits to a space where on this block, I quite managed my mileage, right? Even though I was not training with the crew majority of the time, where 80% of the load I do it alone, is that now I have prior experience on how should I approach my runs. I have prior experience on how I should divide my effort. And the obedience also, being able to obey what's on the program. So if it's an easy run, you go at easy effort. If it's a speed session, are we going at tempo, it's more comfortable hard, or are we going hard max effort? Like being able to put each effort to what's required, right? I think on this block I had much more maturity, even though it was my second block for my first race, but I was able to tackle it way better to a point where also in peak week, where we have to do above 80 Ks. I know for some it might sound a lot, but for complex guys, it's not a lot of mileage, right? But for me, it was important for me to get my first 100 official 100 Ks. But this time around, we did it with no injury,
Okay.
right? Because on the last block, we were close to 100, but we got injured, so we didn't have much more to offer at that time.
And in the first block, were you the same preparation as this one? Like, did you have more weeks? Was it similar weeks?
So, leading up to Cape Town is that we didn't run, then it was so much like more of a big confusion of like you feel like you lost something, you
Mhm.
felt like you gave it your effort, but you didn't reap the rewards from the effort that you pulled. So with this one, it was quite hard to get back to the groove because you had so much time, right?
Okay.
If you're targeting Cape Town,
Mhm.
right? So I had to prioritize my recovery, see my physio, work on the exercises that she gave me at that time prior towards the race. Then knowing that okay, let me try to get better, right? At this thing of being able to run with no pain. Then we started picking up slowly Jan. We still had a little bit of issues there in Jan. Then Feb. Then the moment when the block started, which was like around late Feb, that's where I started being able to find the groove again, build the momentum compared to before, right? Where now at least you have enough time to deal with what you have to deal with before you put yourself into the
For the
next.
actual race.
Yeah.
Okay. And with this second block, what did you find like hard, difficult?
I think my schedule,
Okay.
number one, is that I'm a trainer, so it's ideal to wake up early and go for a run. But for me, in some cases, most of the days during the week, I'm already, by 5:30, I'm already at the gym, right? So that means I cannot get the nice weather conditions to be able to run. So some of the runs, doing them 10 a.m., 11 a.m., the sun is already here. Some of the runs doing 2 p.m., the sun is already here, right? So that's quite hard on the body. That this require much more, a lot of energy in terms of output compared to when you're doing the weather like around 5 a.m., where at least your heart rate, you're not pumping in a lot of blood flow for your energy to be able to sustain whatever pace that you have to target and hit. So I think that number one. And the other thing that was quite hard is doing majority of the work alone, right? When you have a crew, when you have guys, like we lean on each other, we share the load. That's what I call it, right? Where I don't need to think about my splits for the next few Ks. I just need to be right behind you to make sure that I hold pace, right? So now learning to execute at your own capacity, right? Because also on race day, you're gonna be alone at certain stages majority of the time, right? So being able to deliver and get that confidence that I can do this alone, right? Compared to leaning and having people to assist you to push, you know.
Okay. So take me